Well, you were drafted by Green Bay, 1958, and that was 1 year before the arrival of Vince Lombardi. That first year, Packers weren't very good.
One victory, 10 losses, and 1 tie. And I'm there sitting on the bench, I'm saying, what the devil have I got myself into here? Watching all these guys out here playing the football, and at we had, the coach, at the end of the season, we had left to go to California. He says, well, I'm gonna put this kid in over here, number 31, I'm gonna put him in the game. So we play in Los Angeles and San Francisco. So we start the games, and I'm carrying the ball and, getting involved in the game, and so we, I ended up with over 100 yards in the San Francisco and the LA game. And I said, well, we lost both of them. So I said, well, maybe I can play this game.
And then the next year, Lombardi arrives, and immediately you got much better, you and the team.
Yeah, well, he picked me, and then I was going to be in. Paul Horning was going to be his halfback, and Ron Kramer's tight end, and our lineup settled in, and we ended up winning 7-5.
First year. And the second year, you came within a whisker of winning the NFL championship.
No, 59, yeah. We played Philadelphia.
Following year.
Yeah, and the following year. The second year he was there, we were playing in the championship game in Philadelphia. You
told that story about Green Bay's driving, they're down 17-13, NFL championship game against the Eagles and Norm Van Brocklin, and Jimmy gets the last play, and you're inching toward the goal line, and what happens?
Bart Starr handed it off to me there, and couldn't field goal wouldn't do us any good, so he gave it to me off tackle, and I broke in there, and the clock was tick down less than 20 seconds, and the play started, and I broke in there, and I was trying to break back, and the blockers came off the ball, our offensive line, things like they did all day, and we played with them, up until the last 30 seconds. I took it and broke back and tried to find that hole or find a way. It was only 8 yards from the goal line. I'm viewing here and trying to get somewhere to get over in that to win the ball game. So big Chuck Bednarik comes up. And he and I have been friends and things off the field as well as on the field. Boy, and he puts a big shoulder into me and pounds me into the dirt, and the clock's still ticking. 9, 8, 7, 6. He hits me there at the 9-yard line, and it was under 5 seconds. He said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Game's over with, Taylor. Get up. And that was the end of it. We've been, dear friends and things. So I ended up with the ball on the last play of the game, and we lost by 4 points, and so that was the history of the 1960 championship against the Philadelphia Eagles. And Norm Van Brocklin was the quarterback. Tommy McDonald, a halfback, and Clarence Peaks, and all those different good defensive people.
I think that was your first 1,000-yard season.
I think it was.
And you had 5 in a row. First player to ever do that, and mind you, in these years, the seasons 12 games and then 14 games. 1962, he rushed for more than 100 yards per game. Now today, with a 16-game schedule, a guy can get 1,000 yards by averaging 63 yards a game. He couldn't do that, obviously, in Jim's day. But at 62, he's the NFL most valuable player, and you won the championship. You won 4 of them. Does one stick out more than the other, or are they all equally important to you?
Well, I think the 62 one really sticks out, I think, because I took some punishment. I ended up with 31 carries.
In the championship?
Yeah, in the championship game. This is in Yankee Stadium. And we had beat them in Green Bay, the New York Giants, with Wyatt Tittle, the quarterback, and they had Frank Gifford, they had great Sam Huff, and great players in defense. And so we worked on them at our home field, and they got us in Yankee Stadium, and they catching a few balls, but the temperature was about 12, 15 degrees. The field was frozen and all, and I got a split elbow at halftime. They stitched it up, and so I ended up, taking a pretty good, probably the most beating I took in my whole career. But we won the game, 16-7. We had our kicker kick 3 field goals, and I ended up scoring on a play off tackle and things, and went in there for the only touchdown of the game for us, and so this was probably the game that flashes back.
I don't know if you were friends then, but you and Y.A. Tittle have become good friends since then.
Yeah.
I imagine you were fierce competitors at that time.
Yeah, we were, yeah, and Sam Huff and I become very good friends off the field when we finished our combat and head to head. Crunch.
Who was the greatest player you ever played against?
Bart Starr did an outstanding job as our quarterback.
Well, he was your teammate.
Yeah, but I mean, played against them. Well, any of your middle linebackers, you know, you can say Bill George, or you can say Bednarik, or,
Huff.
Sam Huff, and just all the great middle linebackers always keying on me, and they were gonna nail me, you know, so I'm their key each time the ball snapped.
Now, Jim was a middle linebacker at LSU,
Yeah.
in addition to
Exactly.
being the team's top rusher. You could have played that position in the NFL, couldn't you?
Yeah, probably could have, or would have. I might have put on 10 or 15 pounds, you know. I left here, I weighed, you know, about 208, you know. But, you don't need weight, or you don't need size or anything else. I mean, you just want to hit people. That's the name of that game.
And Jim noted the other day that he weighs 208 today. And at that time, you were one of the biggest guys, certainly on the team when you were at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And players were not as big, and they couldn't be as big, because you can imagine these 300-pound linemen, 350 now, trying to play both ways today. They couldn't do it.
No. Couldn't possibly function with their size and their weight and everything, and be able to be conditioned well enough to compete on both sides of the ball. Just couldn't.
Well, your last year in Green Bay, your last game, I guess, was Super Bowl I, January 15th, 1967. Green Bay and Kansas City in the Los Angeles Coliseum. Engstrom against Vince Lombardi. And you win that one 35-10. Did you know it was going to be your last game with Green Bay at that time?
No, I wouldn't. It wasn't in stone. No, it was not. It worked out that the New Orleans Saints had been awarded a franchise, which I didn't know that, but I was a free agent. I was able to pick a team. I didn't have to sign back with the Green Bay Packers. I talked to Otto Graham, I talked to Cleveland Browns and different other teams, to join them. And so it ended up with me going to New Orleans when they received their franchise. Lombardi
Was the coach and general manager, wasn't he?
Yes.
So you had to negotiate with him when
With
you...
him, yeah. They had a little display last night at the plate where Lombardi and I were negotiating on stage there. When he and I were knocking heads and talking contract for me to return back with the Packers for that next season.
I think Henry Jordan once said of Lombardi, he treats us all the same, like dogs. Now he's revered, and in part because of his success and his integrity, but he was a tough guy to play for, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He expected, perfection, and he drove you and got you physically fit, knowing that, all you need to do is tell them that we're going to run these 10 plays. It doesn't matter what defenses you put up against us, we're still going to run them. And so this is the way we prepared there at home to meet our opponents.
Well, Jim has commented, how many members of that team in the 60s are in the NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame?
There's 11 players, yeah. Dave Robinson just joined us here, and he played with Penn State, and he was just inducted last year, and he's a great guy and very deserving of being with us. I think 11 players.
11, that's
6
half the
on
team.
defense and 5 on offense.
Half the team in the Hall of Fame, and of course the coach.
The coach, yeah.
And